Hey guys, welcome to the Live Look, and today I want to talk to you guys about the NBA playoffs. I figured I didn't give you guys what my predictions for these playoffs were going to be, so I figured I'd give you guys my predictions and you guys can tell me yours and we can all talk about it. I'm going to give you mine and give you somewhat of an insight on why I think it's going to go down this way, but we'll see and find out together, obviously. So, here, let's start with the East. The East, the first one we're looking at Raptors and Wizards. Raptors, Wizards. I'm pretty sure the Raptors are going to have to take that. Now, I know I'm late with this prediction. Obviously, the first round it has been going on, and some of the first round games are over. So it's mostly like later on, but obviously I think the Raptors will take this just from John Wall and the Wizards. They just haven't been a good team. Their team has been the exact same every year, and they don't keep getting better. And the Wizards were better without John Wall. So hopefully, if Toronto can, be the big boy in town and take the W and prove themselves this 1 year, and then we'll see what happens in the second round. But I think Toronto will definitely take it this round. I think they're just sick of losing in the first round every year. The second game we're looking at is the Cavs and the Pacers. Now, this is a game that I really think has been incredible this series. I don't understand how every time I watch LeBron in the Eastern Conference playoffs for the last few years, every time they think he's gonna lose, he never does, and it's almost purposely made so that you think he's gonna lose the whole game, and then you get to the end of the game, and he fucking wins. It's horrible. It makes me so mad to watch every game that he plays, because every time I watch in the playoffs, he's about to lose, and then he wins. And that's exactly what happened last night. Did you guys even see that last second shot? That was a replica of what apparently he had done to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the regular season. And the only thing that shocks me is that the Pacers had been playing good. They even came back at the end. And just like all the other games, they get so close and then they lose. The ones they win don't even matter. Let's be real. With LeBron, you can win a game one, you can win a game two, you can win some games. With LeBron in the East, he's not going to lose the series. If you win a game, it's mostly because he had a bad night, or, to be honest, my opinion, sometimes he just doesn't even care. So, obviously, I think the Cavs will definitely pass on to the next round just because the Pacers had their shot and they didn't take advantage of it. Now the Cavs are up 3-2. Yeah, they're going to Indiana, but let's be real. Up 3-2, LeBron just wants to end it and go to the next round. The next game we're looking at is the Sixers and the Heat. I like this series. Obviously, it already ended. The Sixers went on, and that's honestly what I would have predicted. I think the Sixers are a very good team right now. They have Ben Simmons, who is great young star. I think another huge player is Joel Embiid. He's a great player. He's a little, he gets injured at times, but if he can stay healthy, they can definitely make a run in this playoff. I'm sure they're going to be way better next year, obviously, depending on where LeBron goes. But just looking at it now, I really think the Sixers can go really deep. They might even have a chance to beat LeBron. So let's see how that goes. And that's the last round. The Celtics and Bucks that ended yesterday, and the Celtics are going to advance. And honestly, after the series started, you kind of had an opinion that was going to happen. I mean, the Celtics don't have anybody, but their coaching is so good. They don't have anybody right now because Gordon Hayward and Kyrie are injured. But the coaching is so good, and the Bucks just never seem to have it. I mean, they have Giannis, and they have a couple other players like Jabari Parker, Tony Snell, but they never seem to be able to make a team who can just win it. So I don't know about that. I'm just going to see what happens. So now, in the actually, I'm going to keep going with the East and just finish off and see who would make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So with the Raptors and the Cavaliers going on, I basically have the Raptors, Cavs, and then from there it'd be Sixers, Celtics. So Raptors and Cavs. We all know the history that Cleveland has with, I mean, especially LeBron has with Toronto. So it's going to be really tough for me to even think that LeBron is going to lose to the Raptors. And I know the Raptors have been better and they want to prove themselves, but I'm not going to lie. I just don't believe that they can come through and beat LeBron in a playoff series. It just hasn't happened. LeBron isn't that bad, even though he doesn't have all the great players. So I got to give that one to LeBron. LeBron's going to have to go to the conference finals. And for the Sixers Celtics, this would be a huge game if Kyrie was healthy, let alone if Gordon Hayward was healthy too. But I think in this series, just because of the injuries that are going on, the Sixers are going to go away with the win in the series. I think if I had to predict in how many games, I'm not going to lie. I think they're going to take them in five. They're going to beat them in five. And the Cavs, I'm going to say six, just because they're going to have to. The Raptors are going to give them a little bit what they deserve since they have a handicapped team this year. But they're definitely going to go away with the win. And then that just leaves us with the biggest game of the Eastern Conference itself. Hopefully, this does happen. This would be my ideal uh, playoff run. Would be if the Cavs and the Sixers played each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. In that case, this would be the hardest game to predict in the East. But I'm not gonna lie, I do think somehow the Sixers are able to get away with the win. I think LeBron is really good, and I think LeBron does want to win, but he just doesn't have the players this year. And I think the Sixers are the only team that can actually give the Cavaliers, trouble. So Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Covington can shoot, JJ Redick can shoot, Dario Saric, really good power forwards. So as long as all of them stay healthy, they're all looking pretty great. And that just sums it up. That to me, it's going to be the first year that LeBron doesn't make it to the finals. I'm really hoping so too. Not that I have anything against LeBron. It's just crazy to me how he's always in the East and gets an easy run. So hopefully the Sixers will prove themselves this year and go to the finals. I'm not saying they're going to win the finals, but that lets me get into the Western Conference. And the Western Conference, we're looking at the first game, the Rockets and the Wolves. I think the Rockets will get through just because they've always been the team. They've been on top. They've been on like number one for the last couple months in the league. So they're obviously going to get through. Minnesota isn't bad, but they just don't have a team that can go all the way. Jimmy Butler can't really shoot. Nobody can shoot threes. Karl-Anthony Towns is good, but he's still growing. Andrew Wiggins, third best player on the team, can't get physical. Let's see, I don't know. D Rose isn't bad on the bench, but he can't do it all. So I'm just gonna assume that that's just gonna how it's gonna have to go. Hey guys, sorry, just wanted to switch up the view so you guys could see me better, but let's get on and keep going. So the next game is the Thunder and the Jazz, and the Thunder won last night, so they're down 3-2 in the series. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't believe that OKC can come back in this series and beat Utah. I don't even believe, and if they did, they definitely wouldn't win the next round. I really believe that that team needs to be changed a lot. There's a lot of things that aren't going well with that team, and nobody seems to care. Everybody thinks Russell Westbrook can carry on the whole team, but I really think Utah will take on and move on to the next round. I just believe that the Thunder just don't have it this year, and this year is going to be the year that Russell Westbrook will be, I want to say, exposed of what's happening so that everything is fine and good to go. So that everything will change and hopefully the team will get better. Next game we have is the Blazers Pelicans. That was actually a disappointment. The Pelicans destroyed the Trailblazers 4-0 sweep. I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to say I don't like Damian Lillard, but he does talk a lot of shit for somebody who doesn't really get past the first round a lot. I mean, the last few years, yeah, they won against the Warriors, but I remember one year, for example, he said he was going to they were going to beat the Warriors in 5, and then they got swept 4-0. So there's a lot of things with the Trailblazers that I don't understand. I mean, they have two amazing shooters with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, but for centers, nothing. They don't have a center. And I just don't know about the other players they have. I mean, they have Aminu, they have Nurkic. These aren't great players. They have a million other players that are just average role players. They don't have anything special to them. I will give them this. Their bench is good, but always speaking of the guards, like their bench guards are really good for bench players. But when it comes to talking about small forwards, power forwards, and centers, there's nobody. It's just Davis and Nurkic just at center. Then it's Aminu, and I forget now just because that team isn't really that relevant. And to be honest, they got fried 4-0, so we're just going to keep moving on. The next game, the next series was Warriors and Spurs. Um, when I first looked into it, I thought, yeah, Spurs are just gonna lose. Spurs had a really bad year this year. I mean, to take the 7th seed for the Spurs is not usually normal. So I figured they were already having trouble this year. Kawhi has been having huge issues, and then especially after what I believe is Game 3, or after Game 2 when Greg Popovich's wife died, I definitely knew that with him having to leave, obviously, because of that happening, there was no way that they were going to win against the Warriors. And let's be real, that team wasn't never built to beat the Warriors this year from the beginning. So that leaves us with the Warriors and the Pelicans game and the Rockets and the Jazz game. So let's just start off with the Rockets and the Jazz. Now, I know the Jazz beat technically in this would have beaten OKC, but let's be real. The Jazz have nobody. They have a rookie shooting guard, like a rookie star. They have Rudy Gobert, who hasn't really proven himself throughout the years. They have Ricky Rubio, who he's a starter, but he'd be a bench player on some team. Let's be real. He's not taking over the game. Let's see, Derek Favors. He's not bad, but like I said, he could actually just be a role player. He's not doing that much. So what I'm trying to say is they don't really have anybody who can take over. They don't have any star players, and on the opposite side, Houston has a lot of star power. I mean, James Harden is bound to go off. I mean, he goes off every game about. And the Utah Jazz do have a really good defense, but I don't believe that they will be able to stop James Harden. Then Chris Paul, and Clint Capella is not a bad center at all. I mean, I know he's not an elite center, but not a bad center in the league of today. So, I mean, if you guys watched the Rockets game against the Timberwolves, I forget if it was maybe Game 4, but James Harden and Chris Paul had 50 points. They had 37 points to two of them. The team had 50 points in the third quarter. So that's just a nice example to explain to you how easy it is for James Harden and Chris Paul to just get really good and basically be unstoppable. So I do think the Rockets will take that one just because I believe they're better, and the Utah Jazz aren't meant to go further. I mean, it would be really disappointing if the Rockets lost just because they've been talking so much about the Rockets being almost the only team that can, compete. So I want to go with the Rockets. And then Pelicans and Warriors, I'm also going to go with the Warriors just because the Pelicans aren't bad, but let's be real, the Warriors are going to have Steph Curry back, and they're already pretty good without him. So if with him back, it's going to be a whole other level game. They have the home game advantage if it ever got to Game 7, but I don't think it will. The Pelicans are actually without Boogie Cousins, which is huge to me. They would have already struggled with Boogie. Now, without him, all they have is AD. I mean, Mirotic isn't bad, but he's not going to win you the games against the Golden State Warriors. And as for their guards, Rondo's pretty old, pretty washed up, not going to lie. And Drew Holiday actually has been somebody who has been going off really well. I mean, I'm not saying the Pelicans are bad because obviously they just 4-0'd the Trailblazers, but I do believe that the Warriors will win. I think the Warriors will win in 6 with this just because the Pelicans are really going in and trying. I think they'll go in 6. It'll be I think it'll go 2-2, and then the Warriors will just elevate and bring them the 4-2. So they'll win in 6. And here, just for the sake of it, the Rockets and the Jazz. The Rockets are probably going to win in 6 too, just because the Jazz will put up a fight, especially with their defense being good. And the Jazz are nothing to joke around with. I mean, they did. I mean, obviously they did beat the Warriors by a lot, but obviously that's all regular season. It all needs to be determined in playoff time when the players are 100% trying. But that definitely does sound interesting. But for right now, that would leave us with the Warriors and the Rockets playing each other. And that game, I actually believe, will end in Game 7. And the Warriors will pull through and win that game. I think there's going to be a lot of shooting. I think it's going to be all about who can make shots and who doesn't make shots. And the tempo will be very quick throughout that series. But I believe that the Warriors will take it, and the Rockets will go back home, and they'll probably acquire somebody in the offseason. I don't know if LeBron or somebody else, and they'll be able to compete on a way higher level next year. But I think this year is still the Warriors. So that leaves us with a Warriors and 76ers final. And right here, I'm not going to lie, with the Warriors and 76ers finals, I want to say that the Warriors would probably win in 5 games. Just because the Sixers are good enough, in my opinion, to win throughout in the Eastern Conference, but because of LeBron not having a team that can help him. But when it comes to the Sixers right now, with the team they have winning against the Warriors, I mean, I just can't see it happening, especially with Steph Curry back. They're going to take over. They're going to be going in, and honestly, it's crazy that they would even win that one game, but I really do think that the Warriors will win in 5, and the Sixers won't even be that mad about it. I mean, what could they expect to win against the Warriors with a team that they didn't even know they were going to make the playoffs with this year? I think next year, just like Houston, the Sixers will be able to acquire somebody and get much better, like a Paul George, just somebody who take the spot out of J.J. Redick, because he can be such a selfish player at times. And for that reason, though, I do think the Warriors will win it. So these are my predictions. I'm so glad I got to share them with you. I hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe, like the like button, and comment what you disagree or agree on. Anything is fine with me.